What do you mean they can see me, Joe? They saw me? You saw us. Oh man. Well, the good news is, Joe, is the theme music is just about wrapped up. And we gotta listen. It was so nice. We played it twice today.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Can we do a quick audio check?
Audio check. Can you hear me? They didn't hear you at first because I still had you muted. I wanted everybody
to
think
you, but I don't hear me.
You don't hear yourself?
Oh no, I can't hear. Okay. We're good. We're good. Sorry about
how
that.
How many wines did you have? We're gonna start before we even get. I'm gonna crack this because I'm trying to catch up with you. I got what's called a Betty Booze, and this is gonna be you're never gonna guess what kind of drink this is.
Oh, it must be our latest drink.
It's a right, it is the latest drink. It's a sparkling tequila with oak smoked lemonade.
Okay.
But anyway,
you have my blast.
Nice. Yeah. But Joe, we have somebody that we got to introduce.
Yeah, man. So today, every episode is very special, but today it has a different taste because I am bringing someone that it's really, it was really important to the time of my life. It's a good friend of mine, and we have a lot of stories to share. So yeah, today's really special. So without further ado,
I can't wait to meet Joe's friend. Let's go! Boom! Welcome,
Allan Matias.
Allan, welcome.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be with you guys here.
Thank you so much. As much as we like yapping back and forth just to each other, I always love having an extra person because they can keep me straight. But the beautiful thing is you can keep us straight on Joe. You've known him for quite some time. So I'd love to get an introduction to you, a little bit about yourself, and how in the heck did you meet Joe? Can you tell us about that?
It was back in, I think, 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
2010
or 2009. Yeah, 2009. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
We were
years ago.
Yeah, we were in the second year on the university, and then we start to playing cards at the
It makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Playing cards at the university. That's it was crazy. That was the craziest thing we
used to play cards all the time. Like we have
it's
games.
It's so funny because I look, when I met Joe, like he's just so clean cut and he's like a professional. He's like Mr. Businessman. But as I've got to know you, right? As I've got to know him, I've learned more. Like Joe's got another side. He's like Batman. He's got this other side, and everything. Every time I hear about one of his old like hobbies, it's always like a G hobby. Like it's a gangster hobby. It's like I used to play cards. After like who does that? This is cool. Playing cards, nice.
I actually went even to championships. Allan, once I went to
the Kaiser Truco championship, right?
Yeah, it was very nice. It was very nice. But yeah, we used to play, and it was, just to give you some context, it was 2009. It was the fourth time that I was getting started the university. Remember, I was telling you the other day that I had to restart many times because I was moving to another city. I was getting another job, so it was always like that. And then I moved to the city that Allan used to live, and then we met at college. So we were all grown-ups. We were all having our own jobs.
Yeah.
And we met at college. And my first impression, because you don't have the full picture because Allan is sitting right now, but Allan, you are okay. What? 6 foot?
6.3.
Nice.
6'3". So he's really big.
Yeah.
He was the biggest in the classroom, and you get that first impression. He's so intimidating, right? And you kind of let me stay away from this guy. But he's so nice, man. He's so nice.
Was that that day I fought with somebody in the classroom?
No, was before that. Yeah.
What's this? What happened? Whoa. There's okay, so at first I was gonna give you like a free pass. Like you can't judge it just because he's big. But now you opened the door. You said you got into. What happened? What happened at school? I gotta hear about this.
I remember that. Tell us.
Yeah. So I was very serious, taking getting some understanding with the lesson we were having in the classroom. And there was a guy very I don't know how to explain that in English, but annoying. It was the behavior. A very annoying guy with some jokes like kids do, And then I was seriously talking to the teacher, and this guy just and
interrupted you?
Yeah, no, he used it to hit her teeth. Yeah, touch her teeth, and say, and yeah, and I have said to the person, hey man, you have a girlfriend, and so it's not good you doing that. Stop
yeah, of
doing
course.
that. I gave him 2 advices,
mm-hmm.
and then two warnings.
Yep.
And the third one, he did that in front of the teacher when I was seriously talking to the teacher, and then man, I lost my mind. Then and he was taller than me.
Yeah. Hey man, sometimes people like that are the ones that need to be checked too, right? No, I feel you, man. There's something about sticking up for doing the right thing. I remember when I was in ROTC in college and we were in a class, and you got to kind of imagine, like, I'm in a class with a bunch of college kids who put on a military uniform just for a class, right? It's like a part of a class, an elective. I was there because I'd been in for 5 or 6 years and I'd already been to war. I'd been deployed multiple times and I was becoming an officer. So I got to go into this class. And I remember they were in class, and then some major, I think it was like a major or lieutenant colonel, I can't remember which one it was given a class, like a military science class. And these kids just they wouldn't stop talking. They're like interrupting him and wasn't listening to the plan. And finally I just stood up. I was like, guys, damn it. You guys are unprofessional. You know what I'm saying? This man's up here trying, give him the proper respect that he deserves. Because if you guys think this shit's cool in college, all right, but in the military, that shit's not going to happen. And so I'm the same way. I see stuff. There was another situation where I was at a post office, and this guy started getting loud with one of the workers, and he was it was being weird. She was Spanish, and he was talking to her all slow. He's like, "Do you understand English?" and shit like that. I was like, "Hey, stop yelling at the woman. She clearly understands English. What are you doing?" So I feel you, dude. Sometimes you just gotta, the world needs people to step up. I feel like there's a problem with today's society. Not enough people, step up. I mean, from what, you say, you're not a very small dude. So I know it'd probably be a little easier to step up, but no, I agree, man. I love that. I appreciate you doing that too. Cause I mean, sometimes it needs to be said, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Hey, but let me ask you one thing. Can I steal the screen for a quick?
Let's do it. Let's do it. What do we got?
I want to share a couple of pictures that will show you a little bit of us. How can I entire screen?
Yeah, let's do this. This is trying something new.
Okay. Oops.
There we go. Something's happening.
Here we go.
Oh, looky there.
So, can you see us? This is 2012.
11, right?
This is Allan.
Yeah, there we go.
11.
Dude, serious.
Yeah, 2011.
Yeah.
Man, whoo, yeah, 13 years ago. Ah, there we go. There you go. Where was this? Whoa, what's the story behind this? What's going on? Because hey, those don't look like those are all Coke cups. Oh, wedding. Okay.
Yeah, my wedding, my wedding ceremony.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Hey, that's why you look so fresh.
All friends from college.
Where are you at, Joe? Where are you at in this picture?
Oh, you don't recognize me? I'm not gonna tell you.
Man, you used to look quite dashing. The times have caught up with both of us. I don't want to show up. I used to be attractive, I think. I don't know. But no, how crazy, dude. So you guys definitely go way back for sure.
Oh yeah. And we were talking earlier on, remembering some of the crazy stories. And because Allan and I, we were very friends of each other. So we would go out, we would drink some beer, we would do some shenanigans, some
I love it.
things. And we also we grouped to do the final, how do we say in English? But when we are to finish, we have a final project, college. So we did it together. The first picture is on the day of the presentation of the final project. So it was Allan, myself, another friend of us, Gustavo, and I didn't remember, but Allan was saying, "Oh, I as far as I can remember, we were kind of conflicting or not arguing, not fighting, but we were, being kind of arguing against each other because, man, seriously, we were several days, like overnight, working on that project because it was a real application that we were developing.
I was going to say, what was it? It was so tech. It was building tech. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was technology. So it was a business intelligence application. So we had a lot of things. We were doing Java, and was when I actually learned to work with Java. But our partnership, dates back from college, and after that, we kind of got our own paths. We met again a couple of years later, 2015 around. We both were working for Wipro.
Okay.
But I was working for another. Wipro was just an outsourcing company, right? So I had multiple projects. I was working for the retail sector. Allan, when we met again, he was already working for Microsoft. Here's where things start to get very interesting, right? Because remember, a few episodes ago, we were talking about dreams that for a long time I didn't even have dreams, right?
Oh, same.
And dreaming about working at Microsoft. Who would have thought that it would be possible for someone in Brazil? Like, that's not something we see. Right? I didn't have any friends, so I didn't even thought about, I can't do that. No, I can't. Right? Nobody around me do it, so I can't. And all of a sudden, I met this guy on the hallways. I'm working for Microsoft. Huh? How come?
Who do you know? What is this?
So, Allan, this is something that I don't know. That I would love to, or if you told me, I would apologize because I don't remember. But tell us, man, how you first got into Microsoft? How that happened?
First, I have to get back 1 year before, because it happened. It started with a decision. I finished the graduation that day with you. Do you remember? 2011. And then I was hired for a company, and I was a QA tester for websites, an e-commerce platform. And I was doing that great for 1 year. And then, I turned 1 year in the company. And then, hey, I need some improvement in my way, my salary. And then, I already graduated. I'm doing English classes now. I'm taking English classes now. So I just turned 1 year, and then there was my, how can I say, my evaluation of my performance. Right? And then, so we are going to pay you, let's say, $2,000. This is going to be we are going to pay $1,850 per month. Oh, no, I can't survive with that for one year. Oh, 2,000. I mean, oh no. The next
negotiating.
Day,
I like it.
The next day they fired me.
Man, negotiation done. No. Man. Oh my god.
Man. And
that
then
is too funny.
I started looking for jobs for 3 or 4 months, and then Gustavo, the guy who did our final project in the university with us, he told me, "Hey, Allan, I'm seeing you are taking English classes, and I know a person that he works in how can I say, in a outsourcing company. He's gonna love to. I can help you with your resume to build your resume, to help you finding out, because I worked with you 1 year in this final project, and I trust you. So
that's so cool.
And then he helped me building my resume, and he also gave me a referral to this other guy. Then this is where started the path, because the Wipro company was the company that got my resume after that. And then they called me, hey, we have a position here to work. I know you have knowledge in SQL and other development technologies here. So would you mind getting there here for an interview? Oh, yeah, that's going to be my pleasure. Let's go. Yeah. And then I went there. At the beginning, I got hired. It was amazing, but I didn't even know what I would do at that time. Then they gave us training related to Windows servers.
Sure.
In that time was 2003 and 2008, I think, those versions. Yep. They gave us trainings related to Exchange Server and other development tools like SQL,
That's
IIS, cool. Visual Studio. But we only when we got these trainings, they told us, hey, you are going to work for Microsoft as support engineer.
Wow.
And then, oh my God, it's a huge responsibility. And then, okay.
Right.
And that was when it started back in 2013.
That's so cool, dude.
So you did all the process without knowing that you would work for Microsoft.
Yeah, without knowing, exactly.
Yep. So if you knew, would that helped? Or would that have helped you, or would make you freak out?
I think I would have freaked out, or maybe
pressure
would give me a blue screen in the interview. Actually, the interview was not good. The interview was not good because they were asking some deep questions related to SQL Server that I don't know how to support SQL. I know how to create queries. I know how to create select, insert, updates, start the procedures, but not supporting SQL. And that was the problem.
Allan, so remembering our project, let me ask you this. I believe, and please correct if I'm wrong, but I believe our project it helped you in a sense because it was
definitely.
It was 50% database because our project was a business intelligence project, right? Application. There was a front end to show the reports. There was the back end was true database, all tables and star schema and entities, and so. And I remember we worked so hard on those queries. It was a lot of work.
A lot of work cleaning up the records because we got real data from our customer. And we had to clean up that data to import to the database to do the transformation.
Man, it shows the importance of like networking and even relationships, right? Because here's a guy that you worked on a project with. And you were able to get an opportunity through him, and you never know, right? We were talking about that last episode. Like, dude, sometimes these big crazy opportunities come, and you don't even know. You would have had no idea when you started on the path that would lead to this, right? And so that's crazy. So
in parallel with that interview and that training process, I had there in Brazil. If you want to go to be a policeman, for example, you have to do some tests, and I was doing that test, even physical tests, like So I lost the opportunity to go to the police to become an officer because I in a, how can I say, in a 2 miles run, I lost 1 or 2 seconds, but I was one of the latest guys in start running. Then my friend, hey, you should look for a lawyer because if they get the pictures, you did that in time, so you can still go to you still can go move forward with your process. And then no. God no, I don't know.
Right, exactly.
It's his decision.
Hey, right, and that's true.
And that was in 2013, and then I started working. I see that company was a real. It was amazing because when I noticed we would support Microsoft, that call, hey, I know, maybe because most of the people, they are not paying enough,
Mm-hmm.
So most of the people just got the trainings, and the trainings were very, very helpful.
Yeah.
But this is going to be it's going to be a great opportunity for me to learn and to grow.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And works with a large company too, right? So
yeah.
How long was that? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
But Wipro back in the day was a good company to work for, right? I joined Wipro 2015 when I met you on the hallways, was around 2015 as far as I can remember, and it was pretty good. I know after I left Brazil in 2019, things were shifting, south. They were they were cutting a lot of things. They were cutting like incentives or benefits that we used to have, changing laws. Not Wipro itself was changing the law, but the syndicates were changing things, and that wasn't helpful for the employees. Were beneficial for the employers.
Yeah.
But
how long was that? How long were you guys both at Wipro? How long was that?
I was there for 4 years.
4 years?
2015 through 2019.
Nice. How about yourself,
What about you, Allan?
Yeah, for me, it was from 2013 to 2016 when then I even working as inside that the company. I had to report some cases or to work with Microsoft technical leads. And that time, one of my technical leads said, "Hey, Allan, it's gonna open 2 positions to do exactly what you do, but for working for Microsoft. We know you are good. Just bring me your resume because I'm gonna refer you to the manager of the job position." And that's where it started.
Nice.
See, there was no like non-compete clause where you could just go join the company. Because I know, like for instance, I worked for Tata. I worked for TCS, a large global integrator, and one of the clients I worked for was USAA. And I mean, you go to that place, it's literally like the size of the Pentagon. Like that's how big their headquarters in San Antonio is. And they got like 5 or 6 floors, beautiful campus. But if you worked there as a consultant, you had to sign a non-compete clause. So the client could never give you a position. You had to wait like 6 months to 12 months. There was like a window where they did do that. So that would prevent them from being able to poach the talent. So if they saw an Allan and he was really good, you can't just steal him. You got to keep paying us for him. So so it sounds like you guys didn't have that. That's awesome though. That's
no. Actually, we had that, but it was like a negotiation between the managers. Okay, I know I'm gonna get one of your resources here, but he's gonna work with us here directly, and we have some. It looks like I remember there was some contract information there regarding the same situation.
Yeah, usually it is. They don't want to steal them.
So between between 13, 16, you were a Wipro employee working for Microsoft on Wipro premises. Because actually, Microsoft doesn't have any office in Brazil, right? To this date, I believe.
It has few. Microsoft has some offices in Brazil,
really?
But in Curitiba, it was like how can I say? It's a shared office.
Okay.
But I forgot.
Did you ever
went to like a
co-working space?
Have you ever gone to one of these places in Brazil?
Yeah, I went to São Paulo. São Paulo, we had one office there, and I had been there like 2 times. The first one to get my computer, and it was crazy because I drove 6 hours all night long to get there in the morning.
Man,
I've done that.
Right? I think the craziest I was like PCSing. I went from like Georgia to like where's it? Georgia to Ohio. And that's like a 10 12-hour drive. And I used to make that on the weekend. Like Friday would come and I'd hop in the car and I'd drive like 10 hours, 11 hours. And then Sunday I'd drive back so I could be at work on Monday. Fun times. I don't miss that. I couldn't do that now. I'm too old. I'd definitely fall asleep and wreck somewhere. Couldn't do it.
I like to drive. But long drives are exhausting. I remember one day back in 2015, something like that. No, actually 2011. I went to my wife's city, right, where my mother-in-law lives up to this date, and it's far, man. It's like 1,000 miles.
Yeah,
maybe
that's
more.
A drive. Yep,
1,100 miles, and on our way to was fine. We and back in the day we didn't have GPS on our phones.
Yeah, right. The real maps.
I didn't even have, like, if we wanted, we had to buy the actual GPS device. And I didn't have that, so I borrowed from a friend of mine this huge device, like I don't know how many inches. But anyway, on our way to the place was fine. It was working fine, all good. And I had a map, a physical map that I was checking. Okay, the GPS is sending me to this city. Okay, it makes sense.
Yeah, it's working.
So on our way to, I was always checking. All good. On our way back, I was confident. I was trusting the device already, right? So I didn't check the map. I just put the target, and it drew the route.
Yeah.
And off I went. But I had this brilliant idea, right? Because I was really, man, I wasn't poor because I had a car, right? But I didn't have much money at all. Neither my wife. So my car didn't have AC, right?
Yeah.
And it's very hot in Brazil. And I had this brilliant idea. Let me travel overnight. It's going to be cooler, and I will get there by morning, right? So that I did, but in the middle of the night, the GPS sent me to the middle of the country. I lost my track. I spent 6 hours roughly driving in no man's land, like literally. There
That's
was
a detour.
I took when I stopped, in the morning, I was in a different state. I was there. I took off from Goiás.
Yeah.
I stopped at Minas Gerais, and then I drove down to São Paulo and Paraná. So I just missed one state.
What a trip.
24 hours total driving.
Man, thank goodness the tech works a little bit better today, right? That would be crazy. How do we even get places back in the day? I'm surprised there were more accidents. People have their maps up or trying to figure
I was thinking that
we were
yesterday.
Better navigation. Our navigation skills were better because we couldn't trust those devices. We didn't have.
People were committed more. For example, if I schedule an appointment with you, they didn't even had a phone number, cell phones or something. Oh, I'm gonna be there that day, and that's it. Everybody was there.
Yeah, that is true. Like you had to there was something like now where because of GPS you can just wait and do it on the fly, right? But before, you literally had to plan out your trip, right? How many miles, and you knew the route before you even got started, right? I'm gonna be here, be there. Now it's just get the GPS up, call some hotel or wherever you're staying on the way there. If you don't make it, Joe, did I tell you about my GPS story where someone stole my GPS? Did I ever tell you about that story? So yeah, you guys were talking about the little GPSs in the car, and I was working in Washington State. I was working at this very famous place called USAMR. It does medical research, and I had and this must have been 2000, we'll say 9 or 10. I can't remember, but around that period. And I drove a 1989 Cadillac DeVille, old boat, big steel boated. the front seat still had the bench. It wasn't like 2 seats. It was like the old caddy with the front seat was a whole bench. The speedometer was just like straight line. Anyway, I had one of those GPSs you were talking about, and I lived in a hotel. I mean, not a hotel, lived in an apartment. And it just so happened that one of my Army battle buddies, his name was Dang. He lived like 2 or 3 floors below me. And I remember I was up gaming one night. It was like a Friday or a Saturday, and I'm gaming. It's like 2 a.m, and I'm just, I'm probably drinking or whatever. And then somebody starts banging on my door, and I'm like, what the hell? And I go and look, and it's Dang, and he's standing outside of my apartment room, and he's just in his boxers, and he's like banging on my door, and I'm like, what the hell? So I open the door, and I'm like, what's going on, Dang? And he's like, Jeremy, someone broke into your car. And I was like, what, my car? And he's like, yeah, I guess I parked there right in front of his little patio on the first floor. And he heard him like breaking in. And the dude broke into my old ass Cadillac, and he stole a $45 GPS. It was like $45 or $50 GPS. It cost me $70 to replace the window. I'm like, dude, I should have left my car unlocked, and he should have just stolen it. It would have been cheaper. But he called the cops, and the cops came, and they're like, bro, we'll put this down, but the chances of us finding some guy that stole your thing at 2 a.m. with no cameras, it's probably not going to happen. And 8 or 9 in the morning, they came back to my door knocking, and I was like, what the hell happened? They're like, hey, we caught the guy. You didn't have your GPS. He'd already sold it, and he had a bunch of beer, but, he admitted to stealing it, and we caught him 3 blocks away. And I was like, okay, but yes, that was the last GPS device I ever owned. I didn't buy any more after that. I had to tell you, you reminded me with your story, GPSs. So what happened after Microsoft, though? You were working there, then what was next?
Yeah, I was about to ask that as well. Tell us more about Microsoft after.
Yeah, what do you work?
You got hired.
Yeah, when I got hired by Microsoft back in 2016, so I already knew what I would do. So supporting developer tools for Microsoft, like Visual Studio, Internet Information Server, and what else? And all the tools related to the development stuff at Microsoft. But, we have plenty of technologies, plenty of products that time. But my focus was .NET and IIS. Those are. And also, Internet Explorer was considered a development tool from Microsoft.
Interesting. It still feels like a development tool. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it feels like garbage now because
that's what I was implying. What's it called? Edge now or whatever?
Yeah,
Edge.
Yeah. And then I started working with that, but with the Azure growing, they said, hey, Allan, you're gonna move to another team. You're gonna support Azure App Services product.
Nice.
And there we go. Since then, I'm here.
And then I became a billionaire because I was working with Azure. Well, that's cool.
Not yet.
It's cool you got in, though. I mean, that you're involved in that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm pretty sure that a lot like Azure, AWS, Bedrock, all of that's kind of connected to how even the stuff we work with, UiPath, in some of their cloud environments, right? And their one-click, deployments. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. What's the most interesting thing you've worked on over there? If you could talk about it, I don't want to get you in trouble. What's something interesting you think that you've worked on in your career over there?
Yeah, I think it's Azure. More, how can I say? Checking how the progress, how big Azure was going was crazy. In 2016. Our team we used it to be 14 people. Now this team has more than 100.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, that was when
so fast.
Just for Azure support.
Yeah. What?
Just for Azure support?
Just for my app services support.
Just for that portion, yeah. I mean, that was around the time that like AWS also started taking off, right? And then Microsoft came through with Azure, and it was like both of them were growing incredibly rapid in that space, in that time frame.
Well, I put some effort a couple of years ago, and I studied Azure. I got some certifications, even the architecture. I am an Azure architecture, certified. I am certified Azure architect. No, that's true. It's very, it's not easy, right? I put a lot of hours to study it, but I've never practiced that. So I've never had a project that I had to work with. So yeah, the knowledge is there, but the actual practice is not there. I'm not a practitioner, but it's amazing, man. Azure, the whole platform, the whole ecosystem is so awesome. It's so amazing. There are so many tools, so many different things, some easier way to do this and to do that, and the scalability, the availability, oh my God, there's so many benefits. It's hard to not to get in love with the cloud architecture, not only Azure, right? There's so many cloud architectures or providers out there. Azure is just one of them. Happens to be one of the biggest, but it's just one. But so just to get more into perspective and get a little bit of better context, when we say Azure, because you are an Azure support analyst today, right? Is that correct?
Azure support engineer. We
engineer. Okay. Yeah. But that's a really broad term, right? We can imply a lot of things. In a day-to-day basis, as much as you can, disclosure.
Sure.
What exactly you do? Like, so if I have my VMs and they go down, can I call you and say, Allan, my VMs are down, can you help? Can you reboot it?
Yeah, something not like that, because my product, first we do support for Azure, so you must have a subscription, and in this subscription you have to get a support plan, and we have different layers of support plan. And then, for example, the normal scenario, we use it to have, hey, my website is performing slowly. I need some assistance to check this. And then what I do is getting into the web server logs, checking the platform logs to see if there is any change, there was any change, or if there is any ongoing update, because we do that once in a month. And basically that's the initial analysis I do. And then sometimes the cases are very critical, like because my team, my team especially, we do support for high profile customers. And so bank corporations, government
big companies,
big companies, exactly. So sometimes the problem is very critical, and then I'm the only Microsoft resource in the call, and we have multiple engineers from customers team, and trying to figure what is the problem. And then while they discuss sometimes, or while they raise questions to us, I start looking for the web server logs to look for that. What's wrong? First, I look at the resources like CPU, memory, just to check, hey, you have a bottleneck here. Your platform is exhausting CPU. You need to use a bigger machine, for example. That's easy, but it's not easy. It's not always easy like that.
Not easy every time, right?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of pressure then, right? Because whenever you get in a call with the customer, you are the guy, right? You are the Microsoft guy. So people look up to you in terms of knowledge, in terms of guidance, and leadership as well, right? Because you have to tell them what's the problem. They expect you to do that, right? So it's a lot of pressure in this call, right? Do you have any funny or tragic story to share?
I have
calls?
Yeah, I have. Well, first, I'm gonna explain you something because my product we call PaaS, Platform as a Service. That means we manage the platform, and you bring your code, and you put your code and the dependencies. You have your on-premises database or your Azure database. You put together. I don't have visibility of all these dependencies. The first thing I look is for the platform of the IaaS web server. And this is the thing I do first. Okay, I'm going to check the resource like CPU. I'm going to check the operating system version if we are upgrading something. I'm going to check the memory, network. Okay, if nothing comes up in terms of performance, let's say my website is slow. Okay, so what you do, or is there a specific web page that is operating slowly? Oh yeah, I have, this is a query to my database. Oh, okay, so the query for the database is part of the application. And the expectations from most of the customers are, okay, Microsoft, they are the wise guys and they are gonna help you. We don't touch that. Application code is part of we call the intellectual property, I think.
Intellectual property.
Yeah, and we cannot change or suggest something. We cannot troubleshoot that. Sometimes, if we have knowledge, we can suggest customers something, but we are not going to touch on their code, and they expect we find exactly where is the problem into their code.
I know, right?
That's the biggest challenge, and this is what are the expectations. Oh, okay, yeah, Microsoft, they are smart, they are gonna find that. Okay, but my first goal is to check the platform.
All the infrastructure and everything that's running.
Platform is good. Okay, I can try to help you with your code, but it's gonna be your decision. Is gonna be on we always recommend, hey, do we have a developer of this website here on this call to discuss what is doing that? And this is interesting because then they start to discuss among them, hey, so okay, but this is a call to the database, what is that?
it's
blame
funny.
Game.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Exactly. Nobody wants to call you with a problem and then you tell them, well, you're the problem, thanks for calling me. It's on your end, right? So then they're all that's crazy. I've been there with networking, never with like PaaS or anything like that, but that's still pretty crazy. It's got to be a interesting scenario to deal with.
Yeah, and one of the funny stories, one of the guys, I got a support case like 5 years ago, I think. The guy say, hey, I watched this YouTube video here where the guy says, bring it to your website to the Azure cloud, and that's it. And he was like trying to run a console application, a .exe into the web, and just like dragging and dropping the files into the directory. It was a Delphi application, I think, Delphi application.
Man, I already got emails with people saying, oh, I watched this YouTube video. Here's the link. This may help you. I just say, I don't say anything, right? I just say thank you, okay. But from inside, I want to scream. Because seriously, if you are sharing YouTube video with me, like something's wrong.
Yeah, we get to that point. I've never had anybody send me those links. It takes the time too. Like I'd have to like back up because I'd be like, what?
Yeah, I'm not saying, please don't get me wrong. There's tons of value and extremely good videos out there. Like we were talking about this the other day, right? It's just that on enterprises, right, we are dealing with very specific scenarios, right? Yeah. Very specific configuration, regulations, requirements, that those videos will not fit to that.
Yeah,
99% of the times, right? Let's say financial sector, right? How can someone do a video for the financial sector specific? Each bank has its own, like there's regulations for all of them, right? But each bank has its own standards.
Yeah.
So there's no way, of course, for like I'm going to get bits and bytes from different sources and compile something that can help me, but I'm not going to find a video that's going to fix my problem.
Yeah.
Hardly. Like very, very unlikely to happen.
I think that's pretty interesting. So speaking of Azure, I mean, you kind of brought us full circle, and we heard the beginning, and we kind of understand what you do now. I mean, this is a place where we sometimes talk about AI. What's that look like on the Azure front? Are you guys starting to get incorporated with any type of GPTs, or what are you guys doing? What's on the horizon there?
So for the next fiscal year, the managers are encouraging us to use copilots a lot and use and create or have some creative ideas to automate or process or daily duties and is the next bet for the next year.
Yeah. I'm pretty interested. I have this crazy hypothesis. Joe's heard me ramble on about this idea, right? But I think that we're still maybe a decade away from this. But I see a future where LLMs and agents and certain automations, like a pre-built Azure connection to a database connected to an LLM, could essentially operate as a operating system, right? Instead of having like a Windows, you type to a GPT agent and it'll go to your Azure storage blob and get information and present it to you about your order or your whatever it could be. Do you I've seen some of this chatter. What do you think the future might look like with all of this AI that's coming our way?
I'm very critical with that because I like the old school stuff,
Yeah.
I still have some post-it to take notes in my computer, but it's the trend. I was discussing with Joe in a LinkedIn post he wrote. Oh man, we have to deal with that. We have to accept that. We have to embrace that. And we were discussing about we have multiple how do you say frameworks that creates code for you directly. Okay, but it's not exactly necessary what you need, what customer needs. Yeah, so people with good knowledge and still embracing the AI is going to be able to, I think they are going to be the experts to read and to do some precise changes into those codes and these parts. But it's a promising, it's a promising market.
I agree. So here's my take, right? And before I go into my take, I'm gonna say first, I am very curious, right? I am a curious guy, but I have a very limited knowledge in terms of AI. But when I look, and I cannot predict the future, right? I don't know what's going to happen 5 years from now. I know it's going to change dramatically. 10 years, I cannot even imagine 10 years from now.
Yeah, right.
Talking about developer life or how we create things. But one thing that I can tell, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, things were so much different than today.
Yeah.
And back 20 years ago, if we didn't want to upskill ourselves, to update our profile, or to learn new things, we wouldn't be here today, right? So that's where I go. I mean, I don't know how AI is gonna be near future or in the midterm or in the long term, but I know it's gonna be there somehow.
Yeah,
in some
it's gonna
form
be
or
there,
shape.
definitely.
So the sooner we start learning, the sooner we get some exposure to it, the sooner we start to embracing it, the better for us as professionals, for us as society as a whole, because there's so many loopholes that or people talking about should we should we create laws to control AI, or should we just let it go? There's a whole discussion about that, right? So, but until people get educated in a sense that understand what is AI, right? And this is a good thing that I believe we are doing in this podcast, because when we bring complex topics, right, we like to break it down in simple terms, right? Not everybody understands what AI is. AI is not just ChatGPT. It's much more than that. And even I have sometimes I struggle to understand what some concepts are. So
yeah, I think it's crazy, right? I was watching a video recently, and the way that the gentleman, I think it was a TED Talk, and the way the gentleman kind of positioned AI, I thought it was very interesting, right? Because I believe that and I don't mean to offend anybody, but I believe that our tiny little brains don't really grasp the gravity, right? Like the ant that's about to get stepped on, like he doesn't know, right? And I think that the reason it sticks out to me so much is because of what this gentleman said. He said, starting back to the very first tool that man created, right? You look at the species, what set us apart, the first time we created a tool. And then you think about the millions of inventions that we've created since then, from the wheel to electricity and all of this stuff. And he said one of the things that really sticks out to him is that this scenario with generative AI, not even just AI, because that's one flavor, right? One thing, one topic, one definition. Generative AI, this is the first time that the creator, us, has created the ultimate inventor. We've never done that before, right? We don't create things that go out and create stuff. We've never done that. And now for the first time, we've created something that's going out there and creating inventions, creating stuff that we're not creating. And so I when you kind of look at it from that concept, right, this is something I think that's profound. I think that you take people like Allan who understand a lot of this technical components. And I think that 5 years from now, when GPTs and agentic frameworks actually start coming together like glue, you'll see this crash of maybe opportunities in these big companies. But what I believe will happen is that people, the three of us, with our experience, could build a massive company just finding a problem and leveraging agents. We're leveraging this LLM model, putting it together with this app, and we don't have to serve the entire world. We can serve just our region. If we live in Latin America, I don't have to go serve Walmart or these banks. I can help my local community with this really cheap solution to help them run their business. And I think that you'll see a lot of that kind of stuff where there'll be entrepreneurship. People can build companies out of software. So that has high hopes. But again, if you think about I'm creating an inventor and I can create stuff with it, to me, it seems like an interesting concept. Love to get your guys' thoughts on that as we wrap up.
Yeah. AI is there, and we have to embrace that,
Agreed.
Liking or not.
Agreed.
And it is a facilitator, I would say. And if we get along with this, we are going to go to the next level. Okay, I'm going to manage the AI. I'm going to control the AI. And
interesting. Yeah, I agree. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't have any thoughts tonight? Did Allan and I blow your brain? I think we blew his brain, Allan. We gave him too much. He's just thinking, it's like poof.
No, I was already sharing my thoughts on AI. I like very much the future, and I like to learn new things. So I am liking very much to embrace this journey of learning, right? Because I've just started learning AI. A few months ago, I knew nothing. So I know there's a ton of content for me to dig deep.
Do you want me to send you a YouTube link?
My YouTube?
I'll send you a YouTube link. You want me to?
Okay, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
No, just kidding, man. You had that joke earlier. I had to see if I could segue into that.
Oh yeah.
I hate it when they send me YouTube links. But no, hey, Allan, man, I want to. It's the top of the hour. You know how it is, man. My wife and kids are kicking in my door. But thank you so much for coming in and hanging out with Joe and I. And what a brilliant journey you've been on. I'm happy to have heard this story. I can only imagine, even AI can't predict where Allan's going to be in a couple of years' time with his knowledge, right? So thank you so much. But as we wrap up this, is there any cause or is any shout out you'd like to do? Anything that you're working on or anything you'd like to share?
No, not especially. So yeah, it was my pleasure. Thank you, Joe and you for inviting me for that. And that's cool. My first podcast joining.
I love it, man. I love it. What are your thoughts, Joe?
No, man, I just want to thank you, Allan. As I said earlier on, you were there for long years in my life. We had so much more to share, like fun stories. Like we didn't have enough time. But
the episode 2, then we'll run it back. It'll be a part 2 then eventually.
Yeah, exactly. But Allan and I, we were buddies for a long time. We used to live close by, right? So we're physical neighbors. So we would go to each other's house. We would hang out. We would party. We would work together on projects.
Nice.
Dream with how the future would be. You know, talk about future, about life, about wives and family and everything, but we struggled a lot. That's also true, right? Because we were friends in a time that none of us were successful as we are today. Let's put that way, right? We were struggling. We were initiating our lives, professional lives, adult lives as well. So we were having the struggles of living alone or having a partner, right? Having a wife. And going through those processes and breaking some stuff as well, right? So, and we were always there for each other.
Yeah, that builds that strong bond.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we made it to this date. And we are here, you know, celebrating our failures, celebrating our success, and sharing this with you and with everybody that is listening. This is a very special moment. I'm very happy to have you here, Allan. Like, maybe I have never told you this, but
my pleasure, Joe.
I have you in a very special place. You are one of the few friends that I have that I will have for a long time, for the rest of my life, man.
Love it, man. Love it.
As long as likewise, so you have a special place. How can I say? We don't talk each other often, but we know it's a good friend that you can trust. You can talk. You can get some advice, and you can trust is everything.
Hey, man, that's it, dude. Those are the true friendships, the ones that you don't have to stay connected, but you know if you give them a call, they're there for you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
all right, Allan, do you have $100 to lend me?
That's one of the things.
Not yet.
Hey, I think it's 75. It's a true friend if they'll give you 75 whenever you ask. So.
I'm gonna send you a YouTube video how to make money.
Get us out of here, Joe. Get us out of here. All right, hey, to all the people listening, thank you so much. We'll be back. Allan, thank you so much. It was a pleasure, friend. I can't wait to talk again. Let's get out of here, Joe. Oh, man, that was a wild one.